On the morning drive, how to stop lifestyle creep and protect your financial future was an article in local media, Khaleej Times, I think it was, either earlier this week or just last week. James Thomas is with me.
Good morning.
Excuse me, I think I just swallowed a fly.
Oh dear.
No, it's okay. It's gone. So you noticed the thumb? I know. I keep looking at my thumb, thinking, what on earth is going on there? I was chopping lettuce.
Pretty serious. Chopping lettuce.
Yeah, I know. It's not cool. People keep saying, "What have you done to your thumb?" I'm like, boxing, Thai boxing, kickboxing, whatever. I use that, but actually, chopping lettuce, super sharp knife, and I just managed to slice through.
You added a bit of flavour to the lettuce.
I did. I add some flavour to the lettuce. But it's one of those things, when you cut yourself, it's a little bit deep and it just doesn't. And
yeah.
So it's fine.
Oh dear.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. Right. You're here this morning to talk about this. I should say that this is probably right at the crux of everything that you talk about day to day, isn't it? This article, the whole idea of protecting your financial future, those kind of basic steps that you take. Now, this is from by an American personal finance guru, and she does a column for Khaleej Times. I don't know if it's weekly or every so often, but her name is Suze Orman. And, the principles apply wherever you're from,
Absolutely,
obviously.
yes.
But it was just interesting because somebody had written in and said, how can I effectively budget in the UAE, given expenses like, rent, utilities, schooling, transportation, and all that stuff? And what percentage of my income should ideally go towards each? And the response to this was everything that you have said over the last, since you've been coming in here, 6 months or so?
It almost came across as certainly where we started with the principles of financial planning.
Yeah.
And it just really was such a relevant question. And it was just so whether it was, how it just relates to so many people and so many parts of the conversations we've had. And I agree with you when you said this is something we should discuss.
Yeah, let me just read you the first paragraph of the response to that question. So how do I budget? Given everything that I have to, pay out. And the person says, budgets are like diets. You restrict and restrict. You lose 10 pounds for a little while. You feel great. So if you've ever dieted, you can relate to that, I'm sure. But then you get tired of saying no to everything, and the rules start to feel suffocating. You slip a little bit, then a little bit more. Before you know it, the 10 pounds that you lost have come back.
And more.
And, probably.
Often away.
That's how budgets work for a lot of people. You kind of set it and you're like, okay, it's great for a bit. And then it's like,
Yeah, you get that burst of enthusiasm. Mm. I know I need to save. I know I need to plan for my future. Right, I'm going to put way more than I can afford aside and then restrict myself everywhere else. Not going to go out. Not going to take my children out. I'm not going to buy whatever it might be, any treats whatsoever.
Yeah.
And then the first week, you think, yeah, this is great. Second week, or even first month, you think, great, yeah, this is great. I'm on the right path. And then second month, third month, fourth month, and then you think, well, what on earth am I doing this for? I'm not allowed to do anything I enjoy. I've got nothing to show for it. Okay, I've managed to save a little bit of money, but life is so much less fun than it was.
But that's the key, isn't it?
Yes.
You've got to, saving is brilliant. Everybody should do it. Fantastic. Look to the future. But if you're not living your life while you're doing it, what's the point?
As we've said all along, it's, there's so many cheesy lines. It is still true. Please don't leave the UAE with only memories. That's one of the most pertinent ones, I think. If you've been here 5, 10, 15, 20 years, as a lot of people have, and make sure you go home with more than memories. But that saving has got to be in balance with everything else in your lifestyle. Yes, if you're, we were just talking about the next guest and luxury cars. If that car costs 50% of your take-home salary, then I would suggest that you're spending too much on that.
Yeah, it's not a viable proposition.
Not a viable proposition. But when we're doing budgeting, as we said right at the very beginning of when we started doing having these conversations, start with get a plan, or not even a plan, sorry, an idea of what you're spending. So the old-fashioned way was have a goldfish bowl or a fruit bowl and just put all your receipts in there for a month, because then you get a far better idea of actually what you're spending money on, and then you can start to see, okay, is that expenditure on things that I really need? Can I make, again, the people always talk about the coffee and avocado, which really grates me, because
that really grinds your gears.
Well, only because if you want to go out for coffee and avocado on toast, do it if you enjoy it. But if you're doing it every day, I would argue, are you then enjoying it? Because it just becomes a habit rather than a treat.
Yeah. Okay.
But you and I love our coffee, so I would never say to you, no, you must buy Nescafe because it's X dirhams cheaper than the proper coffee, because you just hate every mouthful that you drunk.
Well, yeah. Also, I wouldn't speak to you again, so that would ruin a beautiful friendship, wouldn't it?
It would ruin a beautiful friendship. But again, I just use these little points to say, what we're talking about here is the long-term planning, and if you slashed your expenditure to the point where you have no money to do anything else in your life, then that is not viable. And that's where this question, I think, has come from, because the flip side is also true. Dubai generally can be very, or it can become very expensive if you let it.
Sure.
You can be going out every day. There's beautiful restaurants you can eat in every night. You can have takeaways. You can go to the most expensive bars, clubs, restaurants. Whatever your interest is, you can excessively spend in that area.
It's easy to be to max out a credit card if
exactly. And again, that's one of the conversations we had. Understanding what that credit card is. It's not free money. It's in fact very, very expensive money if it's not repaid every month.
Did I learn that one?
Yes. So where I was leading to in my ramble, it's about balance.
Yeah.
Absolutely save, but don't save at the expense of enjoying life in the meanwhile.
Yeah. So this article starts with the parallel between budgets and diets. That you lose £10, then you put it back on, and that you can see how that works.
And then with interest gained.
It will, exactly.
Yes.
So instead of obsessing over that strict budget, the line was, and Sue Zorman, who wrote the article, says, I want you to focus on simple principles. So living below your means but within your needs, which I thought was a nice line.
Yep.
But it then makes a really good point, and it is that feeling of, if you have a little bit more income, you've got there's a little bit of discretionary spending there that you have.
And so there should be.
To yourself, well, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But here's the point. Just because you can afford something, I'd be like, I could really do with a new phone because there's a new gadget. Do I really need it? Just because I could afford it on paper.
Well, that's one of the other great phrases. Should you buy it? And what's the thing? Put it in the virtual cart, but don't press go for 24 hours.
I've learned to do that.
As you say, that's an effective I need a new
policy.
phone. I need
that.
a new this. I need a new that. Well, do you? Is the current phone still working fine? Yes. What does it give you? If you're a keen photographer and you think that the latest X number of pixel camera and zooms and low light, whatever, and you're going to use those functions, brilliant. And if you think you're going to get pleasure from the pictures that you're able to then take, but if it's just 5% better than the one you've got, is it just going to then sit in your pocket, handbag, wherever, and be just like the previous one?
Well, this is the challenge with tech, isn't it?
You
talk to people. We had a tech journalist in the other day, Kevin Sebastian, and he was saying, look, I'm going to upgrade to it was a new Samsung, I think it was, because he was a few iterations, maybe 3 models behind. And there was a real reason that it wasn't 5% better or 10% better. It was 15, 20%
better.
And, that's worth the investment and its old batteries running down. And that's kind of how you have to look at it, isn't it?
Yeah. But again, same with cars, same with whatever that big discretionary purchase is. Has the car done X 100,000 kilometres, is now costing more in maintenance than just to keep it on the road, then yes. And again, I'm not saying we shouldn't upgrade these things if we can afford it. But if it's then going to stretch you to the point where you can't do other things, that's when you have to, again, it's like I say, just take that pause.
Well, this is what the author of this article says is one of the biggest traps that we fall into. It's the upgrade of lifestyle. If you get a better job, your lifestyle upgrades slightly because you've got more income. So the raise comes in, the apartment, villa gets bigger, car's nicer, holidays more expensive. And despite earning more money, there's still nothing left. And that's the phrase that I used at the start of this conversation. That is what's known as lifestyle creep. Which I've heard, but never thought about before.
No, but it's so true. As you say, you've earned an extra 10,000 dirhams. Well, where's it gone? Oh, yeah, I've got a bigger house or villa or apartment, whatever it might be. Oh, I've got a better car. I've upgraded my phone. We're now going on a second, third holiday. We're maybe flying business class rather than economy. Whatever it might be, if you're doing all of that and still not saving, then that's when I would suggest as a financial planner, those questions really need to be asked. Again, that is the creep, but also most of us have come here from another country where typically we would be paying income tax. And I've often said in the UK, typically high rate tax of 40%. There is a 45% threshold, but use the 40%. If you're able to save half of that, then you're still going to end up in a way better position than you would have been back in your home country. But you've then got another 20% to play with for those discretionary spends, for those things that make life feel enjoyable, to enjoy yourself. Again, it's really trying to convince the mind, because that between the ears is probably the hardest thing to convince, and change those habits, those things that you're become ingrained in doing, and just remember why you're doing what you're doing.
This is why, articles like this kind of, I was going to say re-bang the drum, but that's really what it is. You're banging this drum constantly, but it just kind of reinforced. I was just reading it thinking, I think there's some interesting points. There's another point in here as well that, let me put this to you, and I know you're going to nod as I ramble on now, but at some point, you have to ask yourself an important question, okay? When do you buy what you can afford versus what you actually need, right? So if you can afford more than what you need, the understanding that you need to reach, according to this, and I think it's right, is it's not a signal to spend more. Okay,
it doesn't have to be a signal to spend more.
True,
yes.
What you have there is an opportunity to save and strengthen your financial future. So it is that kind of habit forming. It is, and as you say, it's not really convincing you. It's tricking your mind in many ways, isn't it? Okay, I'm going to do the right thing.
Yeah,
But
again, it comes back to that balance. While I may be able to afford it and not leave myself in debt, which is even worse, but actually I'm now earning sufficient to be able to do this. But should I? My car might only be a few months, a couple of years old. Do I need to upgrade it? And again, the classic UK phrase is keeping up with the Joneses. The next door neighbours having the latest, greatest thing or another great one that I really like is it's buying things I can't afford to impress people that I don't like with money that I don't have. It's just that the point being is that if you're not careful, you can end up in this slippery slope of doing things that ends up putting you in a much worse financial position. Whereas if you were just to pause, think, say, oh no, I don't need this, or I don't need it this month. This month I'm actually going to save some money. And then suddenly, as I say, it's that trick of the mind. Well, I did it last month and life was still great. We did all the things that we wanted to do. well, I'll do it again this month, and then next month, and then suddenly a year has gone by, and you've managed to accumulate a significant amount of money, and then you've almost achieved the trick, as it were, because you can see the fruits of your labour, the reward for those small sacrifices that you've made over the course of that year.
It's simple, isn't it? It's the intangible, because you've never done it before, so it wasn't really a thing, becomes a thing, so it becomes tangible because there is an amount of money piling up.
Yes.
Perhaps you will invest or save or whatever you do with it. The other thing is, before you make a purchase, it's that pausing, as you say, put it in the virtual cart, think about it for 24 hours.
Yeah.
But the question you need to ask is this a need or is this a want?
Yes.
And
do I really need this, or is
Yeah.
it just something I want to have? And again, sounding incredibly ancient, but if we just go to a shop in the old-fashioned way to buy something, you are probably going out.
What is this shop of which you speak? Isn't that when you open the phone, you open the app? Is that like a shop?
It's like a shop.
Right, okay.
But it's so much easier,
Just
isn't
like
it?
tweets are like books, but really short ones.
Exactly.
Right.
But my point being is that if we were going to go out to a shop, we were going with a purpose. There was something we wanted to get. Whereas we just pick our phone up, open the app, click go. It's all linked to our credit card, or there's a pay function already set up. It's so seamless. And again, why is that? It's not for our benefit. It's for the company's benefit, to allow them to sell us more stuff more easily. And then suddenly, if a day or so later, a box appears at the doorstep, and some people will say, "Oh, I'd even forgotten what it was that I had bought."
I've done that. Yeah, a number of times. I still get excited by the box, but there you are. I think, oh, it's washing liquid.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But again, that weekly shop, you'd write a list, so actually you knew what you needed, not what you wanted.
That's a really good point. And also, when you go do your weekly food shopping, go when you've had a meal rather than
That's
when you're
another
hungry.
great one.
That's
Don't go when
a
you're
really
hungry,
good piece
because
of advice.
I need this. You buy the crisps, you buy the snacks, you buy the
do.
chocolate. Whereas if you go after the meal, well, I don't actually need that.
Yeah.
Because I've written a list and it's all the important stuff, sensible stuff, probably.
You come back with 7 different tins of gourmet cashews, and I wanted to try those, but do you? So a need is something that is required for your life to function. So it's rent, it's groceries, it's that nice bowl of slippery noodles that you like, or whatever it is. And a want is anything else, a new outfit that, do you need it? Is it takeout when there's food at home? That kind of thing. It's kind of tempering.
It's tempering, always.
Yeah. No, I mean, it was just a really interesting article because most of it,
But
and
I
I'm
think
sat
so
reading
many of
thinking,
us.
It's almost like you wrote it.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? And that's why I wanted to bring it up.
But so many people, I don't want to say fall into that, because again, it's not about making people feel bad about it. It's just highlighting how easy it is because of the structure and the situation that we now live in, and just being able to try and take that step back, think about it for a second or two, a minute or two, a day or two, and then, well, did I need that? Do I need that? Is it something I want? And I would bet money if you wait that time, you would probably just delete it out of the virtual cart, because you probably didn't need it.
It's like you've got an eye into my Amazon. I don't know what's going on with that, but you're absolutely right. I've got loads of things in there, and I think, and I never go back to it.
No.
And you're absolutely right. So if it's a need, as you say, buy it.
Buy it.
Because you need certain things. You need to fulfill certain obligations. That's fine. If it's a want, maybe don't get it right now. Think about it.
Just think about it. And again, it's not to say that you should not buy it, because again, these are the things that, but it's just to have that thought process. Don't just actually enjoy the process as well.
And it's the discipline thing, isn't it? And it relates back to the original plan you've made. So there is kind of there is a reason here that I feel very often almost as though there's there's a lecturing behind lots of
can
personal
be.
financial planning, and I don't
And I
want.
always try and steer clear of that, and hopefully listeners and viewers will pick up on that. As I say, it's not about you must do this, and this is the right way to do it.
I was actually quite frightened then. That was quite.
It's more consultative.
It is. No, that's right.
It's not to dictate how your life must be lived, but equally, it's to make sure that there's something to show for all that hard work that you've put in.
Exactly, and if you can get to that point where you quite like the saving, get a bit of pleasure out of the saving, because as you see something build, that's a good feeling.
Yes.
If you can get as much pleasure from that as you do from the spending, that means that your balance there's an equilibrium there, isn't there?
And again, absolutely. And the key is finding that equilibrium. And I always say start at a lower point, because the starting is the hardest part, and let it build, get used to it, and then 9 times out of 10 people get almost addicted to that as well, which is a far better addiction, because you're then building for yourself as opposed to.
So you're seeing saving as a power rather than a sacrifice.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's an article, it's in Khaleej Times, I think it was last week. It's online at the moment. It's by an American personal finance guru called Suze Orman. And the headline was How to Stop Lifestyle Creep. It's a great phrase.
Yep.
And protect your financial future in the UAE. It was an answer to a question that somebody had written into the newspaper. James Thomas is an independent financial consultant, joins us weekly here at Mirror Business FM, and thank you.
Thank you.
Good to see you. This is Mirror Business FM.